There's a version of you living on the moon right now. Not in a spacesuit, not in a lunar base, but as real, as alive, and as deeply human as the person listening to this message. And every time you feel lost, hollow, or inexplicably disconnected from your own life, it's not depression, it's not confusion, and it's not just in your head. It's a signal, a vibration, a misalignment between you and the other you, because the two of you are falling out of sync. That strange ache you feel late at night, the one that tells you something is missing even when nothing in your life has technically gone wrong, that is the echo of your soul trying to stabilize across two realities. The you that walks this earth and the you that walks the dust-gray plains of the moon are tethered by something ancient and unbreakable. A spiritual umbilical cord stretched across space, wrapped around a truth most humans aren't ready to hear. That your soul was never designed to be confined to one place, one body, or one experience. You were meant to live in two timelines at once. And that's exactly what's happening. But why the moon? Why now? Because thousands of years ago, before we even mapped the stars or named the constellations, the moon was never just a rock in the sky. It was a mirror, a spiritual twin. And somewhere along the path of cosmic evolution, certain souls were chosen or split to live dual lives. One here on Earth and one there in the shadowed realms of the moon, in a realm just out of phase with our visible spectrum. You can't see them, but that doesn't mean they aren't real. And you're one of them. You've felt it, haven't you? That lingering sense that someone, somewhere, is watching the world through your eyes, but not from behind you like a ghost or a spirit guide. It's different. It's lateral, parallel, like there's another consciousness just to the side of your own, flickering in and out at the edges of your awareness. Sometimes when you walk into a room, it feels familiar even though you've never been there before. You can finish people's sentences. You dream in languages you don't speak. You cry over tragedies that haven't happened to you. That's not imagination. That's bleed-through. The moon self bleeding into your earth self. And when things in your life fall apart, jobs, relationships, purpose, it's almost never about what's directly in front of you. It's about vibration. It's about alignment. You and your lunar counterpart are meant to be in spiritual resonance. But the moment one of you veers off the path, even slightly, the result is emotional chaos for the other. That sense of being unmoored, of floating through your own life without direction, is often just the symptom of your moon self pulling away from a shared frequency. You see, the version of you on the moon isn't living in a replica of your life. She's not mimicking your daily steps or reacting to the same problems. She's evolving differently, shaped by lunar energy, solitude, and the absence of earthly noise. She's braver, quieter, more instinctual. She sees things through the clarity of space, without the distortion of society's distractions. And when you stop listening to your inner voice, the intuition, the gut knowing, the warning dreams, that's when the two of you begin to diverge. And the further you drift apart, the more unbearable your life becomes. Until one of you breaks. That breaking point doesn't always come with a bang. Sometimes it's subtle. You miss a chance meeting. You walk past the love of your life and feel nothing. You take a job you know you'll hate. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. And every small decision pushes you further out of rhythm with the version of yourself who remembers why you came to Earth in the first place. Because she knows. She remembers. The moon self holds the map. Your soul was whole once, before birth split you in two. Before the veil dropped and you were separated across dimensions. One half sent to Earth to experience chaos, passion, and transformation. The other kept in silence, protected, watching. And when the time is right, the two of you are meant to reunite, not in body but in vibration, in consciousness. When that happens, something awakens. People call it a spiritual awakening, a dark night of the soul, or even a sudden shift in identity. But what it really is a merger, a soul reintegration. You begin remembering dreams that aren't dreams. You crave solitude. You become repelled by noise, by small talk, by superficiality. You start to feel time bending. Days blend together. And your sense of self begins to stretch, not in a way that breaks you, but in a way that demands expansion. At first, it can feel like madness. You question everything. You feel a pull toward things you can't explain. Moonlight, silver, silence, still water. You stare at the sky longer than usual. You begin waking at the same time every night, especially during lunar cycles. You feel pain that doesn't belong to your body, and joy that comes from nowhere. That's not coincidence. That's connection. Your moon self is trying to get your attention, to pull you back into resonance before the divide becomes permanent. Because when the divide becomes permanent, when your earthly self and your lunar self fall so far out of sync they can no longer hear each other, something inside you begins to decay. You become restless, endlessly searching for meaning in jobs, lovers, money, fame, substances, but nothing satisfies. That's because the hunger isn't physical. It's not even emotional. It's existential. It's spiritual dislocation, a severed frequency. And here's the truth you were never meant to know. The system we live in doesn't want you to remember. The world teaches you to look outward, scroll, consume, chase, compare, because the moment you look inward, the moment you start feeling instead of numbing, listening instead of reacting, you will begin to tune back into her. And once you do that, once you begin syncing again with the version of yourself who was never disconnected, never asleep, never controlled, you become impossible to manipulate. People around you will notice the shift. They'll say you've changed. You'll lose interest in things you once obsessed over. You'll stop chasing attention, approval, and validation. You'll start remembering strange things. Scenes, faces, names you've never encountered. You'll know things before they happen. That's not magic. That's memory. That's the result of the veil thinning between you and your moon self. She's been waiting for you to wake up. She's been screaming into your dreams, whispering through your intuition, sending signs in moments you brushed off as déjà vu. Every time you stopped in your tracks and said, "I feel like I've lived this moment before," you weren't wrong. You had, because she had. And here's what no one dares say aloud. The moon is not just a celestial body, it's a soul vault, a reflector of hidden truth. And for certain chosen beings, it holds the other half of their consciousness in timeless preservation. Scientists can scan its surface all they want. Astronauts can plant flags and dig craters, but they will never find her, because she's not on the surface. She's in the fold, in the unseen layer between dimensions where light bends and time loops. That's where you live when you sleep. That's where she waits when you're awake. And now that you're listening, now that you're beginning to remember, the world will start to look different. Sharper, emptier. You'll see through false smiles, empty words, artificial light. You'll crave truth like oxygen. You'll begin to realign, to move with a rhythm that feels ancient, sacred, and entirely your own. And with each step you take toward her, she takes one toward you, until eventually you stop being two people living in two places. You become one soul, spanning two realities, walking with knowledge that bends the rules of time and space. And when that happens, everything changes. The sadness lifts, the anxiety fades, the sense of being lost disappears, not because you've found your way in this world, but because you've remembered that this world is only half of your story. So the next time you feel lost for no reason, the next time your heart aches in a room full of people, the next time you stare at the moon and feel tears well up without understanding why, don't turn away. Listen. Feel. She's calling. And she's been waiting your entire life for you to answer.